Okay, good morning. Today, one of the topic that we will talk is not directly from Tanya, but it is idea of Hasidut, and it's connected to Pesach, but it's based on a talk of the Rebbe that is printed in Likutei Sichot. His flag, books, set of books. Pesach have many names. The holiday of Pesach have many names, but in general we use three names.
Holiday of the Matzot.
Holiday of Matzot from Torah. The Torah calling it holiday of Matzot in general 4 times. Sometimes the Torah calling it Pesach, but not the all 7 days. First of all, the sacrifice, the Torah calling it Pesach. Pesach is from the word Passover, yes? To pass over something, because God passed over the Jewish homes in the 10th plague. So the holiday is the holiday of the Matza. Our sages in the Talmud, and this is the common Jewish name, it's the holiday of Pesach. And in the prayer, that the prayer was established by the Knesset Agdolah, the big assembly, the grand assembly, I would say, that was the end of first temple, beginning of second temple. The members of the Knesset Agdolah were prophets, some of them, and some of them, it was a very, they established the prayer way and many other things. For example, Mordechai, from the story of Purim, was member of Anshe Knesset Agdolah. Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi.
Was the Knesset Agdolah like the Sanhedrin, or is it?
They were also Sanhedrin, but they were 120 members. Shimon HaTzadik, he was from the last of the Knesset Agdolah.
The judge?
Yes, the beginning of Avot, Tractat Avot, we're quoting from him because he was the end of a Knesset Agdolah and the beginning of the period of time after the era of the Zugot. Zugot is a different era in Jewish history, but they established the prayer and also the holidays prayer, and they calling the holiday of Pesach in the prayer holiday of our freedom. Zman Cheruteinu. So we're using 3 terms. There is more names, but they are not used name, and they are their name. The official name from the Torah is Chag HaMatzot, the holiday of the Matzah. The official name, of course, the only name in the prayer is Zman Cheruteinu, the holiday of the time of our freedom. And the use name, the common name, in our sages' books and in the regular common language is the holiday of Pesach. And there is a reason why we're using 3 names, and there is also a reason and significance to the time that who calls the holiday Pesach, who calls it the holiday of our freedom, and who calls it the holiday of the Matzah. Meaning, what is the order? What is before what? And maybe we can explain also in the Jewish history, what was the difference in Jewish history that the names were developed in that order. So, first of all, I would say an interesting explanation by the great rabbi of Barditchev, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak from Barditchev, that he once explained why the Torah calling it the holiday of the Matzah and the Jews calling it the holiday of Pesach is because, like in a relationship between husband and wife, the husband, because he feels the love and he appreciate his wife, so he talking about the qualities and the values and how special is his wife, and the wife talking about her husband. So God calling this holiday of Matzah, because the Jewish people doing Matzah, and Jewish people calling it the holiday of freedom
Passover.
of Passover, because we're talking about God that He passed over. So we're talking about each other. So this is one nice explanation, but there is the middle name, the holiday of our freedom, that it's not really, it's in between, but it's also, it's nice idea, but I want to talk deeper and to explain in deep way those names and their meaning. In the prophet of Yechezkel, the holiday of Pesach is called the birthday of the Jewish nation. When we're talking about birthday, so every exile, it's like a womb in his mother's baby in his mother's womb. I don't know. And the redemption is a birth. Jewish people had many exiles and redemptions, and they are compared to when a baby is born. And the reason for that is because when a baby is inside, is full there, but you cannot see. And in the redemption is where you can see what is going on. This is the general explanation. But if we're talking about Pesach, Pesach is literally the birthday of the Jewish nation, because Pesach it is the time that the Jewish nation become a nation. So how the Jewish nation become a nation? It was in the official end of the holiday of Pesach. The extended end, the Pesach holiday is extended till Shavuot. You know, the Shavuot, the holiday of receiving the Torah, is the only holiday that have no official date in the Jewish calendar. Rosh Hashanah is 1st of Tishrei, Purim is 14th of Adar, Pesach is 15th of Nisan, and Sukkot is 15th of Tishrei. But Shavuot, it's the 50th day after Pesach. Why? Because we need to count 49 days, and the 50th day is Shavuot. So usually, and in our calendar, it's always, because it's fixed calendar, it's always in the 6th of Sivan. And that was the day of receiving of the Torah, 6th of Sivan. But in times that it was not a fixed calendar, it was possibility that it will be in the 5th of Sivan and the 7th of Sivan. Until today, there is a very interesting halachic discussion. If a person flew through the Pacific and he gained one day, or he loses one day, if he's doing the Shavuot before and after, because it's not according to the date, even though all the Jewish nation will do it in 6th of Sivan, he will do it in the 5th of Sivan, because he gained one day flying, and he counted the Omer another day. So yeah, it's an interesting discussion. So Shavuot have no fixed date because it's continuation of Pesach. God told Moshe that the whole reason that we're going out of Egypt is to receive the Torah in the Mount of Sinai. So the redemption of Egypt was the beginning of receiving the Torah. Now, as Rabbi Saadia Gaon, one of the medieval sages, said that we are a nation only because of our Torah. the Jewish people is a nation only because of the Torah. First of all, historically. Second of all, spiritually. Historically, because Jewish people have nothing in common. The only thing that bind them together as a nation, when they were spread out all over, it's the Torah.
I think that's true for the day as well.
Also for today, of course. Maybe today more. Yes, today even more. And hello? So again, the Jewish nation is a nation, and the only thing historically combining them is the Torah, and also spiritually, of course. The Jewish people are bind because we all, I remember as a child, I grew up, have relatives in other countries, and I remember that I'm looking on the moon, and I know that in the same time, person from very far can look in exactly on the same thing. It's cool. We can look on the exact same thing, and Jewish peoples living all over the world. One person lighting Shabbat candles in South Africa, the other one in America, the third one in China. They doing it for like the moon. It's the same God telling them all to do the mitzvah. And if you go deeper a bit, he told everyone to do it last week, and also 1,000 years back, and also 2,000 years back, and 3,000 years back, and also 1,000 years from now. So basically, when a Jew doing any mitzvah, connected to all the good deeds the Jewish people doing all generations. But this is by the way. So the Torah is the thing that making us a nation. This is the only thing that making us a nation. So that was the going out of Egypt. The Jewish nation was born. That's why the Jewish nation celebrates its birthday in Pesach. Okay. After the Jewish people, in history, the Jewish people grew up. They become older and older and older. And as you becoming more old, you're more advanced and you more serving your purpose. So we will compare this development of Jewish people to the ultimate student and master, I would call it, not even a teacher, master. Why? Because maybe teacher would be maybe more understandable, but there is this person that receiving something totally new, not because he didn't know it, it's because it was above his level in life. A person that receiving something new, totally new from his teacher. Okay? Can you imagine this situation? It's not only that I'm learning something that I didn't know before. It's something that not only I didn't know. This idea in its nature, it's above my understanding, and I can receive it. I can understand something totally new. So if we will talk about this situation, why are we talking about specifically about this situation? Because this is what the Jewish people experience. They become a nation. It's not only that they gathered and they declare that we are a nation. They become from slaves a nation of God. So their form was changed. They're like a student now experiencing totally new experience that he never experienced before, and he cannot experience by himself. Only through a master and teacher that revealed to him something that is above his nature. Okay? Try to think of examples in your head, I don't know what.
Hasidut.
Yeah, Hasidut, but something else, I don't know, any good example, but we will try during the time. So, the first step in order that this student will really absorb and will get what the master telling him, it's by him being a vessel. What does that mean? There is a story that maybe will explain a bit what I'm talking about, that one of the Chabad Rebbes, the fifth Rebbe, his way of saying Hasidut was that he was talking to the Hasidim. They were all standing there and listening, but he always looked on his old son, only son. He like talked directly to him. I don't know. Probably it was not all the time, but that was his way in general. He talked to him and even spoke like to him. One time, the son went, that he was the sixth Chabad Rebbe. He went to somewhere else, and he called one of the Hasidim, the great Hasidim before, and he told him, "Listen, I want you to be there instead of me, to look on my father's eyes, and he will look on you, and you will be focused to this hour and a half, 2 hours that he spoke in Hasidim. But there is one condition. You should not think about anything else. You should be totally focused." Of course, he was able to do it. He was a very intelligent person, and like he had the ability to do it. So he told the Rebbe told his father that this Chassid would be there, and that was it. After, when the sixth Rebbe came back, his father told him, "Next time, I prefer that you will not bring this Chassid." So he asked, the sixth Rebbe went to this Chassid and asked him, what did you thought? He said, "I was totally focused. And I didn't thought about anything else." Told him, "You must stop thinking about something else." So he told them, "I thought in the middle of the ma'amar of the Hasidut talk, I thought that this ma'amar is probably have basis in a different ma'amar of the fourth Lubavitcher Rebbe. It have some roots." And that was not good.
Right.
What was the problem? What was the problem? He was focused, totally focused. He was understanding what, he was not like that, only looking. He understand what the Rebbe talking. He said that he had the knowledge to see how the roots of the Mama. But this is not a receiver. This is a person that is here to learn. But we're not talking about the same type of learning. Now you need to receive the things as they are. Imagine the Jewish people standing, hearing the 10 Commandments from the voice of God. And one of the Jews will stand like this. These very interesting ideas. No, that you will think after. Now you're hearing the voice of God. You have nothing else in your mind. So this is why, because the Jewish people standing in the 10 Commandments, we understand clearly that they are now experiencing one-time experience. They are changing they are not the same people. These people that heard the voice of God, this person that didn't hear the voice of God. So it's totally different. So when you're experiencing this experience that reaffirming your identity, you must be, first of all, a vessel. Meaning, only here to observe. I don't know if this is the right word.
Yeah, a vessel that you fill in with knowledge.
Yes, yeah. Second step would be, if we want to reform this person, that this person will reform to a new identity, of the Jewish nation. So it's not enough to be a vessel. Then you need to understand and to really live it. that it will be inside you, that it will be part of your identity. You should relate to those ideas. As this Chassid did, thought about, but it was not the time. First of all, you receiver. Second step, now I'm living, I'm experiencing this Judaism. I'm understanding it in my mind, I'm feeling it in my heart. I even trying to understand it deeper and to feel it deeper. And I'm adding even for myself if I feel like it. I really living this idea. It's not only that I was receiver. Now I'm living it. Why you should be first receiver and after if in the end the second step would be to live it and to understand it and to feel it, why you should be first step would be to receive it.
God said so.
Good answer, but need better one.
We have to establish our commitment, our loyalty, our that we're in this by doing the action of receiving and then learning all the details and
But why you cannot start with the learning if you in the end will learn?
because if you start with the learning, maybe you won't be so invested in it, like truly from your heart, from your like. If you will start by learning it, then your only connection to it is by how you understand it. And if you don't understand something, then you will start questioning it or
Okay, good.
doubting it or something like
I
that.
will elaborate on this idea. Thank you. You have another idea?
Well, to be honest, no. Because I don't see why you can't meditate on it as it is coming as well.
Okay.
Because the brain is capable of many things at the same time.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right. So you still don't have an answer. It's good. Because I have the answer. Okay.
That's why you.
I'm joking, of course. I hope you will like my answer. It's not mine. Okay, so first of all, what Michael said is very important point. We believe that the connection, first of all, everyone can understand it, but especially in Judaism, the connection between us and the Torah and mitzvot, between our personal life. It's a long topic, but I will say only the point. The world used to say that what you not understand, you believe in. When the understanding ends, the belief starts. But we not believe in this concept. And we not understand this concept. What does that mean? The belief is something that you cannot express in understanding. It's not that, okay, I don't understand, so I must use belief. There is things that they are true. I can see them, I can understand them, and I can believe in them. It means that in my heart, in my personality, I can connect with something by feeling or by understanding. I can also connect with something in a way that it's above understanding. I will just pause it here and I will go back to what Michael said. If I'm doing something only because I understand it, when I don't understand it, I will not do it. Or if I want to understand differently, I will understand differently. In the end of the story. And we would say very extreme example, very extreme in order that we will understand. One of the most cultural countries in the world, I said it many times, in 1930, 1920, maybe not most of the culture, but the environment was very cultural, is Germany. But you cannot rely on this. Why? Because when we want to convince ourselves for good reasons, stupid reasons, doesn't matter. You don't need even good reasons, because if you developed in yourself the beast, okay, you can feed it whatever you want.
I have even a personal example from this. My great grandfather was a soldier in the First World War, and he was captured by the Germans, and they treated him very well in captivity. So later on, like when the Second World War started, they could not believe that the Germans would be so vile and cruel and act like beasts, literally, because they were considered the most sophisticated and cultured people in
Yeah.
Europe.
So if I want to change what I believe in, I can do it. My what I understand. So we must build our understanding on the base of believing that there is something above. And I can give myself area to explore, to understand, to go deep in the limit, to know that this is how it's done. Why? Because there is something above. This is the Jewish way. That there is the belief. And the belief, this is our frame. Inside, ask questions and have answers, don't have answers. It's okay. Go knock yourself out. But in the frame of believing. Because belief is the base. It's the base that we can connect with something that we not understand. How we can say that we understand everything about God? We cannot. That's why we have the belief. To use. Now, belief, it's not something that it's under understanding. It's something that it's above understanding. There is a person that will hear, I saw just now outside a flying car. They will believe you. Not this belief, it's under understanding. There is some things that they are deeper than understanding. My heart and my soul is connected to a deeper level. How you can extinguish or distinguish the difference, it's above or under. So the belief that this is above understanding, this is the I would say, the, as I said, the frame. This is the default. The default, it's this belief. And how as much as deeper you go, it's also connected to the belief you are. But it's totally different topic, and I don't want to elaborate in this topic. But the first answer why we need to be a vessel, a receiver, before understanding, why it's important step, because you first of all need to recognize that this idea is above your understanding. And you can try to understand this. It represents the how the receiver recognize his place as a receiver. And after I received, I can try to relate to the idea that I received. But it's not my something that it's in my level. Don't forget, we're talking about something that you're not receiving only a new idea. You receive something that it's above your knowledge. How can you receive something that in its definition it's above your level? If you immediately will try to understand it, you will block it. Because you always will try to take it to your own place, and it's above your place. So first of all, you received it. Let's imagine, say, example, a person, as I said, standing in front of Mount Sinai, and he's atheist. Okay? And he hearing the voice, so he starts looking. Where is the voice coming from? It's crazy voice. It's not only strong, it's coming from all over. And da 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 da. He will all the time, and he would say this explanation, maybe this explanation, maybe this explanation. He didn't experience the receiving of the Torah. He didn't experience. He was there, but he didn't experience it. Maybe in the end, he would said, okay, there was no way. It was unnatural. Maybe after, it will not help him very much. Because you were not a receiver. I don't know if it was possible to the Jews to think about something else in this time. But I'm just saying, example. When you are in the position to be receiver, then you need to be receiver to receive it. To recognize that there is something here, that this is above. But again, we will talk after, when we will complete this idea, we will see it maybe in a deeper way. So after we receiving, we need to understand, to relate, to experience this new idea, new identity that we have. And no, actually, this is when we're experiencing, it's a step further to become in the new identity. We experience something above, something that it's bigger than us. We received it, and then we experience it, so we are a step further to become one with it. The third level is to really to control it, to be in the level of what you received. And if we talk about student and master, that the student understand it in the way that the master understood it. That the student become a master in a way. After you received and you felt like it, learned it, experienced it, understand it, the third level will be to become like the master. How can you become like your master if it was above your knowledge? So that's why you should receive it before. You should not understand it only. If you will understand it only, so you always understand it in your level. If in the beginning you received it, meaning you were here only to receive the idea, and after you understand it, so when you received more idea like this, and this idea become deeper in you, and took your mind, took your feelings, took your soul, it means that it's changing you from inside, and in the end you will of the journey you will be in this idea, you will be in this level. Not only in this idea how it's in your understanding, how is the master felt like it, because in the beginning you received the master itself, the master himself. You not received it in your own level. I will try to there is in the Talmud that a student he understands his teacher after 40 years. After 40 years you start to not even to understand, it means to be to stand on your master's knowledge, meaning to become one of his knowledge. It's taking 40 years, meaning you can learn by your master 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, then you finished, then you learn for yourself. But these ideas sitting on your head for 40 years, and after 40 years you completed the processing, and after the processing your ideas already they are in the level of your teacher. Why? Because you experienced them, you lived them for 40 years, and they become one of you, with you, and then you yourself in the level of those ideas that you heard 40 years ago. But what helped you? So we need the two first levels in order to become to the third level. Because if all the time I will hear ideas that and I will always interpret those ideas to my world, you know, let's say a person, caveman, would sit with a scientist. They will try to explain what is helicopter. So you tell them, there is engine, it's going, and it's because of the wind, it's going. So we will say, okay, it's a bird. It's flying, it's a bird. It's a bird. Okay, so this bird is not having like these wings, it having like wings that he will always explain to himself in a language that he himself understands. So he will never understand the idea itself. If you always taking the idea into your world, you will not get there. You will get details, but you will not get the idea itself. But I'm talking about this helicopter. Okay? So first of all, you should receive it, not to translate it to your world. Receive the idea. So there is, even though you don't understand, it's not true, but it's because it's not above understanding. Just to receive it, to acknowledge that it's totally new. There is things that can fly, and they are not. They are dead things. They are like stones, but they can fly. Okay, and then you should think you should hear what he's saying. It's going by itself. No one doing it. No one. Yes, I understand. After you receive it, I received what you said. After, I'm trying to understand it, to feel it, to learn it, to design one myself, really to live it. And after, I can become in the level of the person that taught me it. Because you understand why we need both. Let's try to apply that to the Jewish people reforming themselves. This word, reform, it's not a good word.
Yeah.
Transforming themselves to a new shape of people, to redesign people from slaves to the nation of God. So first of all, they needed to receive God. Second, they living the Torah and Mitzvot with the base of understanding that we are understanding what we are understanding, but God is God. God is true. Doesn't matter if we understand Him or not. We can understand, and then but we investing ourselves to understand deeper, to feel deeper, to experience more experiences. That's part of our journey as a nation. And the third level will be in the level of the master. What does that mean? It means that you really feeling what God gave you in the holiness of God that there is in Torah and Mitzvot. God Himself that there is in every commandment that He gave us, in every idea of Torah. This is the third level. But you can do it if a person will only learn the techniques of the Talmud, even though he's learning ideas of God. But he's like learning the English law, so he's learning the Talmud law, the Jewish law, the Hebrew law. But the truth is that if you recognize before that those laws are ideas of God, and every idea that you're learning is part of the intelligence of God. So you basically, all those ideas reshaping your way of thinking to be connected with God Himself. And in the end, to feel the holiness of God, this only by this first phase of absorbing, of being a vessel. This is the three levels the Jewish people have, and this being represented in the three names of Pesach. The first name is the holiday of the Matzah. What is Matzah? A receiver. I have no taste. I'm not rising. It's called lechem oni, the bread of the poor, because there's nothing there, representing a state of mind of humbleness and deeper of bitul, of being receiver. I'm here only to experience what God gave me. This is the first stage. The second stage is the holiday of our freedom. Holiday of freedom means that what is freedom? Freedom is to be able to do what you truly feel. And if you talk about Jewish freedom, is the freedom to do what the godly soul inside you really wants. Not to be blocked by the feelings of the naturals. To be free. And every Jew have inside his godly soul that wants to go free. And the holiday of our freedom means that we experiencing, we really relating to the Judaism that we have by Torah and mitzvot. This is the second stage of the student. Absorbing, reshaping himself with the new ideas that he received. And the third name is the holiday of Pesach, to pass over. This is already that you becoming connected, you relate to something that it's above your level. You're passing over, you're jumping. It's a totally different state of mind. After really processing and living these new ideas that we have from God, we're totally different nation. So this is the three names. This is the idea of the Rebbe. Now, if I may add, we can even, of course, everything happened in the beginning, but we can extend, in a way, we can extend the Jewish history to those three levels. The three names representing three periods of the Jewish history. In the beginning, Jewish people were observing. Why? Because God was revealed. In the time of the Bible, in general, the Knesset HaGdolah is the end of the Bible. So until the Knesset HaGdolah, the second name, Jewish people were observing. They saw God. That was their Jewish experience. Miracles were there daily. Prophets were there. Temples were there. The first temple that it was revelation of God. That's why the Jewish stage was holiday of Matzah. Then started from Second Temple on different era. The holiday of our freedom. Not because we were free more. That was the job of this period of time. To try to really feel free. To experience the Judaism that we saw for a millennia. To experience. Even though we not see. Just to experience it. To be related, more related to the Jewish soul that we have inside. That's why Judaism is totally changing in that time. We're more learning deeper. The Talmud is developed. And the Jewish nation changed its form. The many customs starting. Why? What is custom? Custom means I want to add myself, to be more, to give some taste to it, to be related to this thing. Not to do it only in the way that God said it. It's a Jewish experience, totally changing. And what is the third level? The third level means that this is a bit deeper, that we already living our Judaism after really experiencing it. Jewish people living their Judaism in a way that they are doing it in the level of God. What does that mean? It means that they giving their life for it. They revealing themselves that they feeling the godliness, that in general, of course, I'm talking, that we're doing it no matter what. We're doing it no matter what. And this is like God Himself in every mitzvah that we're doing, because the next millennia, I would say, but the next era, from the time of the Talmud on, it's a time that Jewish people experiencing challenge by challenge. And they said, no, we stay in Jewish. No, we stay in Jewish. What gives the Jewish people this power? Not the level of understanding that they had of Torah, the level of emotions that they had towards Judaism. This is not giving them power. This is not the reason why Jewish people overcoming all those challenges. The reason why Jewish people overcoming is because they feel that their connection with God is something that it's above understanding, and they're really living like it.
It's in their DNA.
It's in their DNA. They basically revealing the core of the soul, if we will use the terms of Tanya. This is their life. This is Jewish nation life. And this area is called Pesach. Because they are jumped. They're already not in the stage of receiving. They are not in stage of learning, of forming their understanding and feeling. They're in the stage of just doing because we are nation of God. So this is maybe something that we can divide this Jewish history to three levels: the level of being receiver, to experience of God giving us basically it's time of the Bible. After there is a period of time that Jewish people forming many of its core customs and way of experiencing Judaism. You should understand that before the Knesset HaGdolah there was no prayer, no 3 times of day prayer. Not many of the laws that we're doing in the way that we're doing it, it was formed in the time of Knesset HaGdolah and Mishnah. And after that came the exile. That the exile, the Judaism experience is totally different. Of course, everything is there in all the periods of times. But in general, the third way is how to do Judaism because we are Jews. It's already to experience Judaism in a way that we can call it the way of Pesach, the third level. Just because God told so. It's not a receiver, it's already a person that already jumped. So this is 3 things that we can learn from, we need to learn those 3 things, not only one of them, because every person have those 3 things in life. A person need to remember that he is a receiver, that God is here to guide him, and sometimes you just need to accept and to receive it. But at the same time, as you said, we need to know that this is not the only mission that we have in life. We also need to extend and to make deeper, how you say?
Connections.
To make deeper, how you say? To deepen our connection with God, to feel more related, and to more understanding, and to really experience Judaism, in order that we will really shape ourselves. And the third thing that we also need to take for ourselves, there is things that we're doing because we are Jews. As I said, the story of Elie Wiesel sitting in the one of the camps in Holocaust, and he was called by one of the rabbis there in camp, and total suffering, but they had few hours, I don't know how, maybe telling there in the story, maybe at night, maybe it was few days, that they sit and did a court against God if what he's doing is right according to the Torah. This genocide and this suffering. And they called witnesses to set their testimony, if what they experienced and if God allowed to do such a thing. And in the end, they were a Jewish court. There were 3 rabbis, and they stood up and declared that what God's doing is wrong, and he should stop it immediately. And this the court ended. It was quiet, and then one of the rabbis standing and said, "Okay, now it's time to pray Arvit, the night prayer." Because why is that? It's because there are 2 separate things. There is the frame and there is what we're doing inside. The frame is that we are Jewish and we are connected with God, if we like it or not. And this is the end of the story. Now inside you can develop emotion, and you need to do it because this is way to experience your connection with God. So we need all those 3 things. That's why it's very important to learn them. And this process started in Pesach 3,335 years ago. So have a happy Pesach.